Welcome back to a new episode of the Leading Yourself podcast. I am super excited because I'm here with four great friends that I've met in the last 4 years. I talked about the community I'm part of as part of my health and fitness journey, and these ladies that are here with me today are the reason why I am where I am in this journey. And they are people that we met in the internet and now we have become friends. And I'm so grateful for have them in my life and for them to be here today with us on the podcast. So to get things started, maybe we can go around and you can introduce yourselves, um, and then we'll take it from there.
All right, I'll go first. Hi, I am Laurel Hope Hart. Super excited to be here. I don't know if I'm supposed to say anything specific, but I'm stoked. That's my name.
All right. Hi, everybody. My name is Siobhan Little, and I'm so happy to be here too with some of my very favorite people.
Hello, I'm Samantha Toddy, and I am also very excited. And this is a great group. This is my first podcast that I've ever been on, so that's exciting. And I'm just excited to be here.
And I am Sarah Beth. I've also never been on a podcast before, so this is a lot of fun. And I just want to say thank you, Carolina, for doing this and inviting us to come on and talk about this because community is awesome.
Yeah, I can't agree more. But we're just chatting as we do all the time. Just happens to be that there's going to be some hundreds people listening to our conversation, but no pressure. Um, so the reason why I invited you all is because when I think about community and I think about the power of community, like your names came to my mind. All of you have been that community that I needed when I needed most. And I would love for you to share what is your perspective on community? What is community for you? And how has this particular community that we're part of been instrumental in your own personal journey?
Okay, I will go first because I do have to pop off here in a few. But community has been everything to me over the last 2.5 years. And from the challenger side or the with our communities and from a coaching perspective, it's helped me through some of the darkest times of my life with anxiety, depression. My husband is military, so with him being gone a lot, and just having other women to lean in with, especially with our particular industry and field with health and fitness. It just helps to be in community with others that are doing the same thing, all on the same journey. Whether you're having a good day, a bad day, whatever day you're having, it just helps to have others to lean in with and connect with anytime. So community has been vital for me.
And maybe before we jump in, and thank you for that perspective, Samantha, it's so powerful. I did not mention what this community is about. I did talk about it on a previous podcast episode, but maybe we let the cat out of the bag so we can openly talk without, overly thinking, can I say this? Can I not say that? But I mentioned in a previous podcast episode that about 4 years ago now, I was in a point of my life that I wasn't feeling at my best and I wanted to get back that vibrancy, that energy, but also getting back in shape, lose some weight, and really look after my own health and my own well-being. And I did two things at that time that were like life changing. One, I joined this community, the Beachbody community, and this is how I met all these amazing friends. And second of all, I decided to become a health and fitness coach. And everyone in this call are also health and fitness coaches. So we shared community in both aspects, right? In our own journey, in our own health and fitness journey, because for different reasons, we all wanted to refocus and make that a priority. And on the other hand, because we all love to help others, especially other women, to feel at their best. And we decided to take on this role of helping them. And for me personally, as I shared many times before, this just increases my accountability because I'm the type of person that will never tell someone to do something that I'm not willing to try myself. So becoming a coach and being part of this community was life changing, is life changing in my own personal health and fitness journey. So now that we let the cat out of the bag, thank you so much, Samantha, for sharing that. I think, I appreciate this community that we can be vulnerable, right? Like just the things that you're sharing. I think that is so, so powerful. But I let the rest share a little bit of your own perspective on what is community for you and how it has helped you.
I'll kind of piggyback too on what Samantha shared, because to me, I feel like community is being seen and knowing that no matter what you're going through, there's somebody else who, like our stories are all different. We all have a different story and a unique perspective, but we can still identify with some of the places that other people have been. And so that for me is going through all of those difficult times over the last, 3 years now that I've been part of this community. It has never failed that there has been somebody in the community that even if they haven't experienced the same thing, they have experienced that same feeling and connect with that and can support me through it and have done that for me many, many, many times.
I wish that everyone listening to this podcast could see us all, because we've all spent the past 10 minutes just nodding at what everyone is saying, which I think is, it's exactly what Sarah Beth said. It's being seen, and it's, we're all so different. Not only those of us that are here on this podcast, but also just the women that we coach, the women that are fellow coaches, just this huge community, both on the, macro level of the Beachbody community as a whole and the micro level of like our specific coaching team, or we all have our own accountability groups as well. So, just sort of on the whole, there are people that are so different, but for some reason there's this kernel of their story that we connect to, and it feels good to know that you're not alone. I know for me personally, I've struggled with binge eating disorder a lot, and that is the loneliest I've ever felt. And literally hiding, like in my bathroom or like in my room from my partner, like eating Reese's or whatever, like that felt terrible, and I didn't want to be seen. And flipping that to wanting to be seen in that way and being able to connect to other women that could nod along, as I said before, and get where I'm coming from. It's been amazing just in my own health journey. Just like, oh, wow, I'm not totally alone. I'm actually like really normal.
Yes. So I will chime into the community has been the most unexpected surprise that has come from coaching. It's what I never knew I needed. I've always had a little group of friends, but there's something special about this community of women. And like Laurel said, it's a big community when you really break it down between our team, everybody's clients that they coach within their own accountability communities. We're talking about a lot of people here, and I feel like it's so special to have such a large group of women who genuinely want to see others succeed. You have people cheering for you, like from their heart, and they mean it. The community over competition vibes, those who, when they're having a hard time, you have an army of people behind you to help pick you back up. And I know several of us, even on this call, have been through those hard times personally and can attest to the time that this community has been right by their side to help them through it. And that's, I think, the best part about coaching is our community, and just knowing that these people have your back no matter what, through your ups and downs. They're there to cheer you on when you're succeeding and doing great, and they're there to encourage you and support you through your hardest times. And I think that can be pretty rare for a large group of women. So we got something special here, and I'm super proud of it.
I can't agree more. I always say that it's so much harder when you try to do things on your own, because we're better at keeping promises to others that we are to keep promises to ourselves. And when we are able to share our challenges and our goals and our problems and the wins and all along that journey, is so much easier when you do it with other people alongside you. It's like, I always use this analogy, and Laurel, you're a runner, you're gonna totally relate to this. But if I want to run a marathon, right, and all my friends go to the bar at 6 p.m. every day and have a beer, and that's the environment and the community that I'm part of, good luck on developing the discipline to train and eventually get to run a marathon. But if I surround myself with other runners that talk about running, that talk about what are the tennis shoes and what is the pre-run and post-run snacks, and how can you maximize your speed and your distance and all the things, I am so much more likely to run. If someone is at 6 a.m. texting me, let's go run, versus someone telling me at 6 a.m., go get some sleep, that makes a huge difference in just me showing up for myself. And for me, this is what this community has given me, right? The fact that even during the pandemic, right, we couldn't leave our house. A lot of people that were going to the gym stopped exercising because the gyms were closed. Yet we were on a Zoom call at 6 in the morning, hitting play on our workouts together, cheering each other, and like holding each other accountable. And I think that is so powerful. So let me ask you guys, what are some of the things that you look in a community, whether it's this community, other community, but what are some things that when you're saying, I want to be part of this community or that community, what are some of the things that you look at to say, yes, this is my tribe, this is my community, this is what I need?
I would say people who are just genuinely nice, kind people, because that positivity and that kindness, it's infectious, and just people who are going to lift you up and support you and cheer you on. Just good people.
Yeah, I'll piggyback off of that. I think also finding a tribe that has similar goals, similar struggles, similar just things that you can relate to. Relatability is huge for me with community. And I think what do they say? Your vibe attracts your tribe. So, I think that's huge when we're talking about our communities and we're promoting our communities, is really just leaning into like who you are and what who you want to surround yourself with. So I think that's huge.
I also think authenticity is really important. I've discovered as I've gotten older, I think like many of us spent a lot of years trying to fit a mold that I was never comfortable in, and trying to be the girl that blah blah blah, whatever. And once I just started accepting, like, nope, total weirdo. I mean, I lovingly call my girls in my personal accountability group, Positive Paradigm, I call them my weirdos, because I don't fit in that mold. And the second I accepted that, other people started popping out of the woodwork being like, me neither. And I think just living that authenticity is, it's just, you can feel it. It's amazing.
It's freeing, right? It gives you a sense of freedom.
For sure. Yeah. And this may be saying the same thing in just a different way, but to me, whenever I'm looking at a community, you know, that I might want to be a part of, I'm looking at what they value. Do they value the same things that I do? And I love that this community values family, that that's something that is super important to everyone, that family comes first and valuing that authenticity. Yeah, just having those things that, because like Catalina was saying, if you're valuing, you know, having a good time over, you know, certain goals, then those, you know, you're not really going to jive. You're not going to both be getting what you want out of life. And so you have to find that community that shares the same values that you do.
Yeah, I think that is so important. And one thing I personally value of this community is that everyone here is willing to give and without expecting anything in return. Like I know that how many times Shobana is my coach. She's the one that introduced me to this community. And sometimes I've been going through, to Samantha's point before, to hard times, and I've called her and have nothing to do with what we do inside the community. But you know that the other person is there to listen and cares about what you have to say, and they're going to speak from their heart. And I think that that for me has been huge. I think especially over the pandemic, where I was feeling like lost in the sense of, oh my God, like I can't connect with anyone. That was the first feeling, like the first week. And then I double into this community. And now when I talk about the pandemic, I probably have a different perspective than many other people, because for me, the pandemic was an opportunity to get closer to people virtually, to learn different ways of connecting. I haven't met any of you in person, and we've been friends for 4 years. And that for me is just crazy, right? I would never have imagined that even being possible.
It's crazy to as I look at you beautiful faces. Again, we're doing this on Zoom. I know everyone else is just listening in their beautiful earbuds, but I can think of instances where each one of the women on this call have taken time out of their day. They're very busy. all of you are very busy, to lift me up and then, you know, on the flip side, I can think of specific moments of hardships that these wonderful, beautiful women have gone through since I've known them. And I can think of how our community, you know, wrapped their metaphorical arms around them and held them and, you know, said, I got them. And I have been the recipient of that many a time over. And it's, I have goosebumps, right? I mean, I just like, it's kind of unbelievable to think about these hard things that happen in adulthood, and knowing that you have a place to go that has just got your back without, like you said, Carolina, like asking for anything in return. I mean, it's just, it's sort of unlike anything else that exists in the real world.
I think sometimes it's hard to describe with words if you haven't experienced it. Like if someone would have told me about this before I was even part of this community, I don't know that I would have believed that, right? Like it's something that until you experience, you're like, oh wow, this is something, right? And and that is so powerful. I want to get a little bit into the health and fitness aspect of this, because that is the first thing that brought us together. We know that that's not what it has kept us together, but it's what brought us together in the first place. And maybe you can speak a little bit from that angle, like when you joined this community, where were you in that journey, and how did community help you in your health and fitness journey?
Yeah, I'll go first. So I was again in a very dark place. We had just moved, and whenever that I started to be and getting into coaching and everything, and it was exactly what I needed, because I had just left all of my community that I knew. So we were in a new place, and then of course the pandemic hit a couple short months later. So I really needed this then more than ever, and I was in a very unhealthy state where I had regained a ton of weight, And I needed to lean in with others that had been there, had gone through the same struggles, that could lift me up through this incredibly hard time. And yes, I needed the tools and all of that, but what I really needed was I needed the people. I needed community. I needed people that I could lean on those extremely hard days, and on the days that I was succeeding. Like, I needed those women to encourage me, and or not to encourage me, but to celebrate me and congratulate me. Like, I needed all of that. And so yeah, that's kind of how my journey with this community started. And of course, it's turned into so much more, and being able to turn around and reciprocate that back to others. And yeah, it's been incredible for me.
So I started Beachbody, gosh, back in 2018. So a little over 4 years ago, I was introduced to 2B Mindset, and really that's when I was at my rock bottom. And after spending all of my 20s, so a decade long of yo-yo dieting, one crazy fad diet to the next, just living a very unhealthy life for 10 years, I was introduced to 2B Mindset, and I was skeptical and nervous, and at that point kind of hopeless because I had tried it all, but I leaned in and I gave it a shot anyways. And that changed everything for me. And then I really started leaning into the community during that time for accountability and support. And that's really what kept me going through those first several months of really trying to develop this new lifestyle change. And it really does make a difference, no matter what you're doing in life, to just have support and have people telling you you can do this on your hard days, and having people encouraging you when you have a setback to keep going and to keep pushing forward. I really believe that the community is what helped me establish this lifestyle change. And then of course, 2B Mindset, I fell in love with it very quickly, but the community is what helped me get going with it and stick with it. And I would say it really is the ultimate accountability, surrounding yourself with like-minded people doing this with you on a similar journey with you. It makes a world of difference. And to see the ripple effect that has happened since I started over the past 4 years, I was getting emotional hearing you guys talk, because it's crazy. It leaves me speechless, honestly. It's crazy what has happened over the past several years with all of us just leaning in, not only to our health and fitness, putting ourselves first, but also leaning into the community and doing this together. It's really, really special what has unfolded over the past few years. And I'm really proud of you all. So yes, it starts with the nutrition, and the at-home workouts are amazing, but I feel like the community is what keeps us all going.
So whenever I first started 2B, I later found out that I was going through some depression, and I would never have called it that at the time. Like, I wouldn't have labeled it that way. I just had a really, really negative self-image. Yes, about my body, but also about just who I was as a person. And I felt like a failure. I felt like I was not capable of anything more than where I was. And finding 2B was amazing, and it was the tool that I needed, but the community is what showed me that there was more for me, if that makes sense. I don't think I would have been brave enough to try it. I don't think that I would have gotten very far with it, and I don't think that I would have I don't know that I would have ever been brave enough to try if it weren't for seeing other people's stories, hearing Siobhan talk about kind of, being in this similar place where I felt like I am not the only, I truly felt very isolated. Like I was the only person in the world that was such a screw up, that was such a failure. And seeing that somebody else had kind of been in this similar place, but had come out on the other side, made me realize maybe I'm not a failure. Maybe there is hope for me. And maybe I can do that too. And so having that example is huge, but then joining into that community and having Siobhan personally believing in me and telling me that I could do it and cheering me on every step of the way, and every single other person in this community doing the same. That's what got me beyond doing it for a week. And giving up like everything else that I had ever tried. The community was the complete game changer, and it's what made me realize that I wasn't alone and that I really could do this. And that's what's made it a lifestyle for me 3 years later.
I so badly want to change the industry of what we do to ripple effect marketing because like I just think it fits better. Just like listening to this, I'm just like, yeah. So yeah, before I found To Be Mindset, which is, also the nutrition program that I use and what brought me to this beautiful community, I was very much a diet culture kid. I was teased for my weight. Like I was a larger child. First diet I ever did was in 7th grade. It was the Special K diet. I still to this day cannot eat Special K. I can't do it. Like it's just, like I can't. And my mom is that way with cabbage. Like we're not allowed to have cabbage in our house because she did the cabbage soup diet and the smell of cabbage makes her want to vomit. Like that is the environment that I grew up in, like Slim Fast in the fridge, diet books on the coffee table. Like it was ingrained in me. And I thought that that's how you had to live as an adult. Like I just thought that you would yo-yo like 100 pounds, like this way or this way, and that was just the normal. And I thought that you just used food to cope, and you ate when you were sad, and then you ate brown rice and vegetables for a week, and then you failed at that, and then you went back to eating ice cream. I just thought that that's how my life was going to be. And I was just so fed up. I was just so sad. And I started to get serious with my now husband at the time, just my boyfriend. And the idea of raising, hopefully we are lucky enough to have children, and the idea of having a daughter and raising her in that just bummed me out so much, to a point where I was like, I have to change something. And so I sort of, To Be Mindset, last resort, and everything changed. And I felt like everyone has said, this community has just been such a game changer as well, because for so long I felt really guilty for wanting to lose weight. I thought it made me not body positive. I thought it made me selfish. I thought it made me a bad like woman, like for wanting to change my body. And I realized it wasn't that I wanted to change my body necessarily. It's I wanted to change my mindset. I wanted to change my health. I didn't want to have insulin in the fridge like I did when I was growing up. I didn't want that. And so having these other women around me that felt the same way, that had those same thoughts, it made me feel less selfish, and it made me realize like, oh wow, there's a way to do this that's honoring my body and honoring what it can do for me and loving it no matter if I've lost a pound or gained a pound. So I just, night and day from me finding this community to before finding this community to now is, I'm a different person. I'm just truly.
Yeah, I think what I'm hearing, and I knew this, but it was very obvious in everything that you shared, is that a lot of people join this community because they want to lose weight, or they want to get back in shape, or they want to gain muscle, or it's all about the body. But that's not really why they're doing it. They're doing it for a more deeper, bigger reason that has nothing to do with how they look, but more about how they feel. And it's, as you said, Laurel, the mindset, right? The mindset piece, I think it's huge. Like, I am also a different person since I joined this community. I'm more confident. I have more energy. Like, I think I am a better mom and a better wife and a better friend and a better everything because of this community and what this community has added to my life. And I think also, as part of joining this community, I think I also have learned to be more accepting of myself and be okay with saying, hey, you really need to make yourself a priority, which I fully agree with you, Laurel. It was like I was so guilty anytime that I was going to the gym because that meant I was not spending time with my kids, and I felt so guilty, and it really flipped the whole script on my mind. And the other piece that this community has been huge on, like I've always loved personal development, but my personal development has been on steroids since I joined this community because that is also a key component of what we do in this community, right? Everyone think it's about the nutrition program. If you heard to be or to be mindset, that is the nutrition program that, or the lifestyle nutrition that we all follow, or the workouts. But it's, yeah, in the surface is about that, but deeper inside is about many other things. And personal development is one of them. And I would like to hear from a few of you that perspective as well.
Well, I think that's one of the coolest parts of our job, that we are so encouraged not only to take care of ourselves with our nutrition and fitness, but also take care of our mindset, and that personal development is a vital behavior for us as coaches. Because I don't know about y'all, but I never, ever did personal development prior to coaching. So once it became part of our daily vital behaviors, I started leaning into it, and holy cow, what a difference it makes setting aside that even 10, 15 minutes a day just to work on your mindset. And it makes such a difference. And I see what a difference it makes not only in myself, but it's really cool to see like the switch flip in teammates or clients when they start doing it too. So I just think it's amazing that that's part of our total solution and our health journey that's made a priority too. So I'm a fan. It's changed my life for the better, in addition to the community and the nutrition and the workouts, everything. It's also good.
What I love about personal development being a part of our job, like Siobhan said, is that it causes me to set aside specific intentional time for that, but also because that's something that we as teammates are all prioritizing and making time for, it's also something that kind of makes its way into our conversations in our community, because again, that's something that we all value. And so it has happened so many times where I've been having a conversation with somebody about something I'm struggling with, and they're like, hey, have you heard this podcast or have you read this book? It is amazing. You need to go check this out because I was struggling with that same thing and here's how it helped me. And one of the most recent ones that I read was a recommendation from Laurel, where I was saying, this is what I'm dealing with. And she's like, you have to read this book. And I did, and it's changing my life. And so I feel like the community piece of that is so cool too, because personal development being such a priority, it truly does change your life. It's all about developing you as a person, and having a community that also values that. Just I don't know, I feel like it just really helps in that process of growing as a person, because we're growing together. We're doing it together.
I'm sitting here like grinning from ear to ear as Sarah Beth opened her mouth, because I was thinking of that exact time when I'm like also tearing up. I'm just like a mess of emotions. Sarah Beth came to me and she was like, whatever. And I recommended Brene Brown's I Thought It Was Just Me, But It Isn't. And which is a book that I just truly think that everyone should read. I think it is it just changes your life. I don't care what you're doing. I don't care if you're in this community, if you're in no community, if you are going to stranded on an island and you can bring 3 things, like that should be one of them. And yeah, it's I would have never picked that book up, and it also changed my life. And I wouldn't carve out the time every single day if I didn't have to. But also now I can't imagine not carving out 10 minutes a day to read something or listen to something. I mean, I know I keep talking about Brene Brown, but it's just like, after To Be Mindset, after like getting married to my wonderful husband, I think Brene Brown is what's changed my life the most. But yeah, I just think having that having a focus on just taking a little bit of time every single day to work on yourself is huge, especially if you're not wanting to. That's when you should really do it.
I can't agree more. And if I look back, right, I've known Siobhan you for 4 years, Sarah Beth, Laurel for 2 years. I don't know. I lose track of time. And when I look back, like, and I look at ourselves and our team, and some are missing today that couldn't make it, but I think we're all different people that we were when we met. We have changed and we have grown, and the fact that we're all growing has also kept us together, because how many times I've been part of groups and communities and circles where I'm so focused on my growth because that's just who I am. And all of a sudden I look around and I'm like, I don't fit here anymore. And I've changed, and this circle, it doesn't feel like I belong anymore. But I think the fact that we're all growing and evolving and changing in our own different ways, right? Because our lives are different and our journeys are different. But the fact that we're focusing on it and we're growing and we're changing and evolving all at the same time, I think that I keep looking around, and yes, we're different people that we were 4 years ago. And I continue to believe, and I believe it more so every day, that I belong here. And that is so powerful.
I never thought of that. I've never thought of that. That is so well put. Like the idea that you can grow as an individual and as a group is kind of mind blowing. Wow. I'm just like, I use this word very sparingly, but I'm going to use it. I am shook. That is very well said.
So I know that we're coming to our time. We might have some babies waking up for nap soon. But before we end the call, I just want to open it up. And anything that is in your minds or your hearts that we haven't covered, that you're like, oh my God, people need to hear about this, about our community, or about how our community has impacted you. I know we can talk about this for hours, right? Because it's been a journey. It is a journey. But I'll just open it up for anything that you want to add that we might have not covered so far.
I just want to say I love you guys and you make me so proud. I'm so proud of our community. And it's special, and it's crazy that it all happened from the internet. So thank you guys for being part of my life. It wouldn't be the same without you. Love you guys.
Right back at you.
With that, I'll also say, like, I love this community. And you know, the internet doesn't have to be a bad place. There are really bad things on the internet, and there's like really awful, like social media can do the opposite of what we're talking about today. It can make you feel really lonely. But also, social media can be a really amazing tool for community, even if it's not ours. Like if, you know, just like a non-beach body thing aside, my husband in 2020, he's totally fine, but he was diagnosed with testicular cancer. And I used Instagram to connect with other caretakers. So I think, yes, social media can be very detrimental and it can be really hard and we have to really protect ourselves on there. But at the same time, it can be really amazing to use this weird little thing on our screens to connect with others and to find your people. So I don't know, I guess making friends on the internet is possible. We are all proof of it.
I guess I would just say, challenge anybody who's listening that like, if you feel like we're talking about some unicorn community that can't possibly actually exist, but you just crave that, feeling seen and being part of a community that values the same things that you do and is there for you during those times. I just want to encourage you that it does exist, because this I never would have imagined it before I found it, but you deserve to be part of a community, you deserve to be seen, and you deserve to be supported. And don't stop looking for it, because it is out there, and there is a place where you belong. I 100% truly believe that. So don't give up on yourself, and keep looking for it.
That is a great way to end this conversation, Sarah Beth. I can't agree more with you. And, I just want to say thank you, because you guys are amazing. And I will not be here if it wasn't for you. I always say it that I don't think I would have started this podcast if I wasn't part of this community. This community gave me the self-confidence to start my podcast and to do a lot of the things that I do even outside of this community. And the fact that, again, I've never met you in person, but I know that I always can go to you and fully trust you, and that you're always there, holding space for me and having my back and encouraging me. And also sometimes giving me some tough love when I need it. Thank you so much. I love you all.